Hi, I'm Johnny. This is Johnny Likes, the show where I talk about movies that I like. On this episode, I'm talking about a terrible, terrible movie that I had a great time watching. Today, Johnny likes Santa Claus.
You tell him, Johnny. You tell the world.
A young boy named Wayne wakes up Christmas Eve, despite having been double dosed with sleeping pills by his uncle, and sneaks up to his mom's room only to find her and said uncle in the hay together. He has a little freak out, pulls a handy dandy revolver from her nightstand, and shoots him, kills him. He gets arrested.
He'll do some time in juvenile detention. They'll have to let him go when he's 18. He'll be back, blowing people away.
Super subtle foreshadowing there. Fast forward many years and we meet Raven Quinn, who is an adult model. But she isn't just a pretty face, she's got a brain in her head too.
Raven Quinn, zoologist, actress, scream queen, wife, and mother.
She and her photographer husband, Eric, are kind of on the outs. They're having a huge marital dispute. He's been away on business, i.e. taking pictures of models and sleeping with them, while Raven has been left to care for their two daughters, and she's finding it's actually a lot to deal with. Luckily for Raven, that young boy Wayne is now all grown up, has an unhealthy obsession with Raven, and happens to live right next door. Wayne and Raven are friendly, and he gets along with the kids, so he offers to help her out by babysitting. She accepts, and then Wayne starts to help her out in unexpected ways, such as killing people that she kind of complains about a little bit. His goal is that ultimately it will be just Wayne and Raven walking into the sunset, or some sort of variation on that. So the plot on paper sounds like a Silent Night, Deadly Night ripoff because of the slasher Santa and Christmas aspect, but in reality it has nearly nothing to do with Christmas or Santa. Granted, it is Christmas season, and Wayne eventually does dress up as Santa, but the only reason he dresses up as Santa is because he sees a Salvation Army Santa on the street, and he likes the way the suit looks.
Really, I love your suit. Where'd you get it?
At the novelty store around the corner.
Goes and just buys one. Most of the time when he's doing his killing, he's just dressed all in black with a mask over his face, which he removes at every opportunity, kind of thus negating the point of the mask. And the best part is he uses a garden claw dollar store type thing as a weapon. And he got the claw because it was a prop in one of Raven's movies. In reality, you know they're using it because, yeah, it's really cheap. You can afford one of those. That can fit in the budget of any movie. It also satisfies the punny title of the movie. But as I was watching, I was thinking, really? That's the best you guys could do for Santa Claus? Try a little bit harder. So George Romero wrote and directed Night of the Living Dead, right? Mostly right. He was co-created with a guy named John A. Russo. Now, we all know what happened to Romero, but what happened to Russo? Well, Santa Claus happened to Russo. He wrote and directed this masterpiece. And I suspect for two reasons. One, money. He probably needed it. It's been about 30 years removed since Living Dead. Yeah, guy could use some cash. And two, he just wanted to film young women take off their clothes. And speaking on that matter, if you took out all of the shots of nude or partially nude women in the movie, it'd be about an hour long. Don't get me wrong, I was expecting some gratuitous nudity in this, but just not the amount they had. Is any of it relevant to the plot? Nearly none. Did I mind? I kind of did, actually. There was just so much, and it wasn't like it was full on nudity a lot of the time. It was mostly just girls kind of gyrating in front of the camera for long, uninterrupted edits. In fact, it would go on for so long that I would kind of forget that I was watching a movie, and then when the scene was over and the plot kicked back in, I would be like, oh, right, it's a movie. And this happened 3 times in the movie to me. Unfortunately, most of the girls weren't especially attractive, save for Debbie Rochon, who is undeniably pretty. I was never super pumped to have the next girl have her turn to bear it all, I guess. Which is not a good sign in a movie like this. Most of the time, I was just going, again? Really? However, if you don't care for the story aspect of the film and just want to see the girls shaking their stuff, the film that Raven mentions in the beginning when talking to the reporter, Scream Queen's Naked Christmas, it's a real thing. It recycles a lot of the footage from Santa Claus, but it's a thing that you could theoretically go out and purchase. Which I have to admit is kind of genius in terms of a marketing thing. Like, why make one movie when you can make two for the price of one and advertise for each other in the movie? I appreciated that from a business sense. Story-wise, I could have used more time with Wayne, developing his obsession with Raven. As it is, we don't know why he's obsessed or where it started. It just shows adult him getting a look-alike, creepy sex doll-looking bust of her. Had they taken some time to show why Wayne's crazy, could have been a passable, super low-budget thriller. Not like a masterpiece, but it could have been watchable, maybe even a hidden gem, I don't know. As it is, it's stuck in this weird in-between genre zone. It's not really a horror, there's not much in terms of violence, or scares, or gore. It's not quite a full-on porno. Like, you know, Triple X, this would be like a half X. It's mostly just girls partially nude. And it's not successful as a thriller because there's no mystery at any point about who the killer is, and there's no tension. It works best as an unintentional comedy. Like, there are tons of moments of kind of inspired acting or shots or campy delivery of dialogue, campy dialogue itself.
Does that mean he died for you?
Yeah, that's what he was trying to say. But you know, he was just drunk, honey. He didn't mean what he was saying. He was just excited about being around a celebrity.
And since the production is taken seriously, the kind of bad dialogue does become campy. It's one of the weird double-edged things about making a campy movie is you can't acknowledge that you know you're making a campy movie in order for it to work. But there was a lot of stuff that kind of invoked laughter from me.
I don't usually let anyone in when I'm here alone.
Ho, ho, ho! It's Santa Claus!
The effects in this were absolutely terrible, and they were practically non-existent. I'm not exaggerating here, this isn't like a humble brag or anything, but I could have done a better job. It's like they didn't even have fake blood, so instead of going to the store and buying some or making their own, they just use some lipstick that a crew member probably had, and they said, good enough, called it a day. This is the level of stuff that's in the movie. This is like the goriest thing in there. Debbie Rochon, who played Raven, is not a name that I recognized, but when I looked her up, turns out she's been working steadily since the early 90s, mostly as a Scream Queen, but yeah, been getting steady gigs up to this day. And I could see why. It seems like she has some actual acting chops. She has potential for sure. I haven't seen her in anything else that I know of, but she was the best actor in the film.
And there's nothing wrong between us that can't be fixed, especially if his loving mother and adoring sister would learn to butt out.
Despite her seeming pretty bored with the material, I was still drawn in by her performance, so job well done. Grant Kramer played adult Wayne, and I suspect he was cast because probably took a acting course at a local community college, and the casting director maybe knew that teacher recommended him. That's kind of my backstory there. No basis in fact, just what I gather. He appeared in 2 more movies, super low budget horror ones, and then he quit acting to, I assume, go work at his local music shop. Because every music store that I've ever been in has at least one employee who looks exactly like Wayne. It's the law or something. So apart from the extended gyration sequences, I was never actually bored in this movie. It somehow had my attention, which is why this movie gets a pass from me. It's definitely a so bad it's good movie. It was pretty much exactly what I wanted when I put it on. I was kind of not feeling the greatest. I'd had a flu shot earlier in the day. I thought it skewed my judgment until I was looking for clips that I've been showing. I was like, no, this actually was kind of fun. Kind of validated my earlier opinion, felt good about that. But it's not a movie for everyone. It's not a movie for any time. But if you are in the mood for a certain type of sleaze, you might enjoy this. So how do I rate this? It's the classic so bad it's good dilemma. On the one hand, as a movie, It's like a 1.5 out of 5. But my enjoyment of the movie was a bit higher. It was as much as a 3.5. So I think I'm just gonna kind of split it and give it 2 out of 5. So I am curious if I'm the only one out there who got some enjoyment from this film. If you've seen it, please leave your thoughts in the comments. While you're here, may as well like and subscribe. It's quick, free, relatively painless, helps me out. Thank you very much in advance. Thanks for watching me talk about movies for a little bit, and you can tune in next time to see what else Johnny likes.